At the bottom of the ocean, in total darkness, the ground is on fire. Towers of black smoke pour from cracks in the seafloor. Water hot enough to melt lead in a place the sun has never touched. And impossibly all around it, something is alive. For most of history, we believed the deep sea floor was a desert, freezing, black, and empty. Sunlight cannot reach it, and without sunlight, we thought, there could be no food and no life. We were completely wrong. In 1977, a tiny submarine was diving near the Galapagos Islands, hunting for warm spots on the seafloor. What its crew found there rewrote biology. In the crushing dark, 2.5 kilometers down, they discovered an oasis, teeming with life. They had found a hydrothermal vent. Seawater seeps into cracks in the seafloor, sinks toward the molten rock below, and is heated to incredible temperatures. Then it erupts back out, superheated and loaded with chemicals from deep inside the earth. The submarine was called Alvin. Its crew expected bare, dead rock. Instead, in the beam of their lights, they saw giant clams and forests of red-tipped worms swaying in the shimmering heat. It made no sense, and it changed science forever. Where that water hits the freezing ocean, its minerals turn solid, building chimneys of rock, some as tall as a 10-story building. The hottest ones pour out clouds of dark mineral, so we call them black smokers. These chimneys are almost alive. As the scalding mineral water hits the cold sea, it hardens, layer by layer, growing several stories tall in only a few years. Then they topple and begin to build all over again. And this is where it stops making sense. 400-degree water, crushing pressure, toxic chemicals, and no sunlight at all. Every rule says this should be one of the deadliest places on the planet. Instead, it is one of the most crowded. Because clustered around these vents in the dark are dense gardens of life, giant worms, ghost white crabs, swarms of blind shrimp, mussels the size of dinner plates. The question that stunned scientists was simple. Without the sun, what is all of this eating? The answer changed how we understand life itself. At the base of everything, here are bacteria. But these bacteria do not need sunlight. Instead, they feed on the chemicals gushing from the vent, especially a poison called hydrogen sulfide. They turn it into energy and into food. It is called chemosynthesis, life powered not by the sun, but by the raw chemistry of the earth. And it means something profound. Almost everywhere else on the planet, life runs on sunlight. But here, in the deep dark, an entire living world runs on something else entirely. The most famous residents are the giant tube worms. They can grow taller than a person, topped with a blood-red plume, and they are far stranger than they look. An adult tube worm has no mouth, no stomach, and no gut at all. So how does it eat? Inside its body, it farms billions of the chemical-eating bacteria, feeding them the chemicals from the vent and living off what they make. The worm is not really one animal. It is a garden and a farmer, fused into a single body. Some of these animals seem almost invented. One snail armors itself in iron, plating forged from the metals in the vent. Another, the yeti crab, grows shaggy hair on its claws, then farms bacteria on it, waving its arms through the water to feed its own living crop. Around them swarm the scavengers, pale crabs that have never seen light, and shrimp that have lost their eyes completely, replaced by light-sensing patches on their backs, so they can navigate by the faint glow of the superheated water itself. Everything here rests on that thin film of chemical-eating bacteria. It coats the rock, it fills the worms, it even hangs in the water as a faint, milky haze. An entire kingdom of animals, standing on microbes that eat poison for a living. One creature lives closer to the heat than almost anything on Earth. The Pompeii worm builds its home directly on the chimney wall. Its tail sits in water hot enough to cook it, while its head rests in cooler water. A single body straddling one of the most extreme temperature gaps any animal can survive. Think about what these animals endure. Water that swings from near freezing to scalding in the space of a few centimeters. Pressure that would crush a submarine, and a constant bath of chemicals that would kill almost anything from the surface. And they do not merely survive here, they thrive. And vents are not rare. They run along the mid-ocean ridge, a chain of undersea volcanoes that wraps around the whole planet, longer than any mountain range on land, a seam of fire in life, almost all of it never seen by human eyes. But this paradise is fragile. A vent can burn for years, then simply shut off as the plumbing beneath it shifts. When it dies, its entire community starves in the dark. So these animals must constantly cast their young out across the seafloor, searching for the next eruption, the next chance at life. But a shadow hangs over these places. The same chimneys that shelter this life are rich in copper, gold, and rare metals. And companies now want to mine them. We may erase these oases before we ever truly understand them. And there is a deeper idea here, one that reaches back to the very beginning. Some scientists believe life on Earth did not start in a warm sunlit pond, but down here, in the heat and chemistry of a hydrothermal vent nearly 4 billion years ago, that we are all in a sense descended from the deep. It also changes where we search for life beyond Earth. Moons like Europa and Enceladus hide vast oceans beneath their ice, with no sunlight at all, but they may have hydrothermal vents on their seafloors. And if life can bloom around a vent here, it could be doing the exact same thing right now, somewhere else. Every vent we find teaches the same lesson. Life is tougher and stranger than we ever dared to imagine. It does not need warmth. It does not need light. It needs only energy in some form and a little time. For all of human history, we believed one thing was certain, that life needs the sun. The vents proved us wrong. In the deepest, darkest, most hostile place we have ever found, life did not wait for the light. It simply found another way. We have mapped more of the surface of Mars than the floor of our own ocean. And every time we lower a camera into the dark, we find more. More vents, more creatures, more life, thriving in the very last place anyone thought to look. So somewhere below you, right now, in permanent darkness, the Earth is bleeding heat and poison into the sea. And gathered around it, in the crushing black, a garden is growing. One that has never needed the sun and never will. This is Phantom. Subscribe, and we will keep going deeper. This was Phantom. The deep is vast, and we have only just begun. Subscribe, and we will take you back into the dark on the next descent.